So we've got to call this meeting to order. This is our second Pear Tree Building Committee meeting. It is Wednesday, December 3rd and 4:02 p.m. Thank you everyone for coming today. I'm sure we'll get some nice updates on where we are on the project. If you have any answers or questions along the way, feel free to just unmute yourself and go ahead and rapid fire. So first and foremost, I want to get the approval of the minutes. Did everybody get an opportunity to go through the minutes that were presented in the email last week?
I thought
Good.
good.
I did.
Goodbye, me.
Perfect.
I only have one thing. Peter, unfortunately, I have this difficult Norwegian last name and it's 2 A's and only 1 S. So it's a tough one. It's right a couple of times in there, but I don't care if it's fixed for this, but it's just 2 A's and 1 S.
Will be taken care of.
Thank you.
We'll get it right. Thank you, Malin. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes from our initial meeting on November? I don't remember what the date was. Go ahead, Terry.
Sure.
And seconded by Marty. All in favor? Perfect. So I think someone from Weston Sampson is here.
Yep.
My hope is that they're going to give us a little update on what's happening down at Pear Tree up to date.
Yep. Can everybody hear me okay?
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you all. Yeah, so we just had our meeting a couple weeks ago, so submittals and everything's still underway. There haven't been any new requests for information. I did pass along to Jen. I believe she sent to you the pay application, both from our end as the design consultant and from the contractor for the last pay period. So if anybody has any questions, we can go over those. Aside from that, I guess the biggest update is last night at the planning and zoning meeting, contractor was there, and we received and got an amendment approved from our previous approval back last February as it relates to the means and methods of removing the dredge material. So initially the approval was excluding storing, dewatering, and hauling of material in the parking lot and over land. It was intended to be by barge. Contractor it was bid that way, and they had a procedure in place. But after the town had reviewed it and looking at the schedule, there were some potential impacts. For example, if weather turned for the worse, there wasn't a ton of buffer built in to accommodate that. So we ran the risk of not being able to complete the dredging operation within this permitted window, which ends January 31st. So with that in mind, contractor had proposed an alternative means to basically store the dredge material in these elevated impervious containers on the site. So they don't touch the parking lot still. They're all contained in these units. They then get an additive mixed in that helps solidify it for transport, and it'll be removed from the site via trucks. So the upshot to that is contractor much less impacted by the weather. They can control the schedule a little bit better and greatly reduces the risk of not completing the dredge operation within the window. So again, they went to the planning and zoning meeting last night, presented that information, and I believe got the approval in place. So that's going to be the intended means and methods for transport of the dredge material at this point. And they are going to start preparing for that to occur in the next couple weeks. So kind of mobilize that piece of the operation. They have started mobilizing the dredge material itself. So you may have seen on site some different equipment showing up. That's to actually do the dredging work that's going to be taking place. So again, I think that's kind of the big update since last time. So with
Sorry,
that, yeah.
I apologize. I missed the P&Z meeting. What's the incremental cost associated with that change in plans?
You mean, like, is there a change order associated with it?
Yeah, sorry.
That we haven't received from Yield yet. We'll be talking with them to see what the potential impact is. But they were going to look at that. I believe the trucking was potentially a little more than the dredging, with again the trade-off being that if they don't complete the dredge work by the January 31st window, the next opening for that, I believe, doesn't start until either April or May, which was going to start impacting your boat and your beach season. And alternative to that, I would have to push out a whole other year. So there were some schedule trade-offs there that were taken into consideration. But once we get if we get an associated change order for the means and methods, we'll review it and then, of course, share it with the committee for your review as well.
Got it. Sorry. And I totally get the need for expediency. My question was, and this is to Marcy and the rest of the crew, are we just takers of that price change, or is there a process? Sorry.
So when we had the initial conversation about this, there was a lot of complexities to try to do it, weather being one of them, but there was also, we'd have to move the fueling station. We'd have to move a couple of permanent boat ramps that were out there. So there was going to be a cost associated with that. My understanding was that it wasn't going to be a significant increase to do it by land than by sea. But I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then, yeah, of course, we have say and making an adjustment. I'm hoping that those numbers come through quicker rather than later. But the presentation that we had received is that it wasn't going to be a significant financial impact and change order. So,
Got it. So, ballpark on incremental cost. Sorry, and I don't mean to make waves here, but
yep, no,
just
of course.
thought I'd ask.
Yep, I don't have that number, but I'm sure that Jack can probably get that for us.
Yeah, I mean, Yield was kind of, making sure everything was going to get approved before they started going through that whole process. Right. So we will get that number from them and then share it with you as soon as it's prepared.
Can I ask you who negotiates those change orders?
Well, so they'll prepare a cost that'll describe the difference, if there is one, between, their costs that they would have incurred via barge versus what they'll incur via trucking. We will review that and make sure it's reasonable and in line, that they're not, overdoing anything or making any incorrect assumptions. And then from there, we would present it to you for your review and approval. So we'll kind of do a first pass at it to make sure it's in line with expectations and then share it with you.
Okay. So, but Weston Sampson does the negotiating. We don't get involved.
I mean, if you have questions, we can certainly ask, but yeah, we will do a review to make sure it's within expectation and a reasonable amount. Yes.
There should be a pushback associated with it. Marty knows this drill.
Yeah, if they're double counting anything or anything
now we're
like
going to
that,
blame it on Marty? Sorry.
Okay, but in this case, they already started in the other pathway. So in this case, it didn't wait for us to weigh in, right?
How do you mean?
I mean, we're already going down this, I mean, it's fine with me, but how, I guess I'm just asking, I'm kind of echoing what Bob is saying, because I don't know how this works. Like you said, there's already other equipment there, and it's already being stored.
No, that's the baseline equipment. So that's stuff they would need regardless. That's the dredging equipment that's been showing up on site. So this is strictly about the Yeah, no, it's this is strictly about how they're going to be removing it from the site.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
the
I
only change.
misunderstood. Okay.
And if I can just also add that another part of the concern was the potential for damage because the size of the barges, there were going to be two of them that had to come in. There was a lot of concern from various entities about any damage that might happen due to weather or losing control of any of the barges. So it was also to help mitigate that as well.
Sounds like we did them a favor.
It definitely simplifies the entire process for everybody and also has positive schedule impacts. And I'm really curious, Jack. And by the way, Jack, thank you to you and your team for putting together the memo to P&Z. It was very comprehensive and did a really good job of spelling out the reasons that we came back to them. So thanks for putting that together very concisely and coherently. I'm really interested to see what they come back with for their analysis of barging versus trucking. I don't know if they ever looked at the trucking option in too great a detail because they figured they would start with the barging. But I mean, there's a potential that it could sort of come out in the wash between, as we were saying before, the potential moving of 50 moorings, which certainly has a cost. All the additional work that it would have taken to get those barges in. Putting aside the potential for damage, as Jen mentioned, or grounding of tugs. I mean, there's a lot that can go around.
Yeah, they're also looking to kind of double dip with the truck. So as they haul stuff out, they can bring material back in that they'll need for the parking lot work, which is going to have to happen anyway. So
Double
I think that's
dip in
where,
a good way.
yes, double dip in a good way. Yeah. Not the bad kind.
Right. Yeah. So that was another aspect of the whole thing was, not adding too many extra trucks to the process. So it just kind of stretches out the amount of time that material will be coming into the site, the travel that we'll need for the project, and, adds a bit of extra mileage on the trucks.
Yeah, depending on where they have to go. Exactly.
So, but yeah.
I guess my only point, Jack, is if you could just make sure, please, that you lay out all that analysis for us, please.
Yeah. Yep. Well, again, we'll take a look. We'll do that first pass and make our recommendation to you guys, with that associated backup, and it'll go through a, formal change order process, obviously reviewed and approved by you all. But yeah, it'll have our associated backup and approval with it.
Got it.
A
But just to
recommendation,
be
I should
clear,
say.
I think we're price takers on that, not approval. Just to be clear, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Jen, once it does go through Weston Sampson, then where does it, to whom does it go? Does it go to you and then pass along to finance and whatnot, or approvals? I guess I'm just curious on what that process looks like after it gets the blessing from Weston Sampson.
Well, that's kind of the next item.
Yep.
Sorry.
No problem.
I'm
Next
a
agenda
newbie
item.
on this. I apologize.
Okay.
So, Jack, is there any sort of financial documents that you guys have now available to share with us?
No, not yet. That's something we got to ask Yield to prepare still.
Okay.
Again, they just got the approval yesterday, so
Okay.
I'm sure they're working on it.
Okay.
And then once we have that, we'll share it.
Okay. But it seems like our timeline is tight. When are they going to be you don't know, in the next couple of weeks before Christmas break? I would assume they're going to start the dredging process.
Yeah, I think they estimated it was
Week of December 22nd.
yeah, and they estimate the dredging process itself takes about, I think it was 14 or 15 days was their estimate. So to get it done before that January 31st cutoff window, because they need to build in obviously some buffer time from their end. But yeah, I would anticipate they'll be starting before the holidays.
Okay, so I definitely think this board would like to see, what that cost is and what that change is.
Mhm.
It's not really a change because we hadn't started the project yet and contracted the project, but we definitely want to know, what this scope looks like as this work starts.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions in regards to where the project is right now and what it looks like in the next couple weeks?
Well, and was something started with the boat ramp? Or no, this is the first thing?
Boat ramp sounds like, as talking with Craig yesterday, tides are more favorable to begin in earnest the boat ramp work this coming week.
Okay.
For the, you get a good downgoing tide early in the morning where the guys can get started and have enough of a window to get stuff done before the end of the day. So,
And that's consistent with the schedule.
yes.
The dewatering is supposed to start next week.
Perfect. So in regards to pay to date, do we have any paid to date at this point? No. Okay. So the review and approval of pay applications. So we had a conversation this afternoon with Jen and with Jen Charneski and the town administrator, and the process will look as any sort of invoicing, any sort of change orders will come to this board. We'll approve it, and then Jen Fava will have the authority to sign those. But they will come through this board through an approval process first. Then we're hoping that we can approve today for Jen to be the signer on those, and that will give the go-ahead for the contractors to begin their work.
Okay.
Does that process work for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yes.
I need to take a motion to give Jen Fava the authority to sign invoices after the approval of the Pear Tree Building Committee. Can I get a motion? Malin, and a second from Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And change orders will have the same process. They'll come through this board. We'll have discussions on change orders during our meetings, and any vote on an approval, and then again, Jen will have that authority to go ahead and make those change orders. Okay. Any questions in regards to that at this point?
I have
No.
a general question. I mean, we in the handout, we have the standard AIA form for payment request from Yield. How many contractors are we going to be dealing with? And secondly, where's the overall budget that includes contingencies and engineer and any other contractors necessary? I have not seen that budget.
I don't have that either at this point.
And
I can
who keeps track of it?
I can tell you what had been submitted and approved by all the funding bodies. The contract with Yield is for $7,997,400.
Right, and that's very clear from their
Yeah, there's a contingency of $635,000. And then Weston Sampson is $350,500.
So that's pretty simple.
So it's just those two. Those are the only two that you're going to be seeing come to you. There might be third party that go under. There's some in Weston and Sampson for some of their third party inspections and things like that, but go through Weston and Sampson.
Okay, that's simple enough.
Yep.
Okay.
I did put up, if you want, Marcy, hopefully that's yours. I don't know what you guys see compared to what I'm seeing, but so I pulled up the first pay app for Yield, page 1, and I'm happy to scroll when you want me to.
Got it. And then just one question from me is, Jack, when do you think we'll get updated numbers for the change in work process? Sorry.
For the dredge trucking,
Yes, sir.
I would anticipate by the end of this month. I mean, before the holidays for sure.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Craig after this meeting, see where they're at.
Good. All right. any other questions in regards to payments and change orders and authority and how the process is going to work? No.
Nope, good on my end.
Good.
Sorry.
I think the next agenda item was just talking about some timelines.
Marcy, can I go back? We need to have you guys approve so that I can sign off on payment for yield, and then also the Weston and Sampson request for payment. They were part of the materials I sent,
Okay.
and it's what you guys should be seeing, hopefully, the application for certificate of payment for yield.
Yep. Okay.
So they're looking for $90,250. Again, this was reviewed by Weston and Sampson. I believe I'll show on the next page, basically what it is 10% of completion of the
Okay.
mobilization.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve the payment of $90,250 to Weston and Sampson for
No, to Yield Industries.
to Yield Industries. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve $90,250 for Jen Fava to sign payment for Yield Industries on the beginning of this project?
I'll serve the motion. Bob Lyons.
Okay, seconded by
Marty.
Megan. It's fine. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
And then there's also the invoice from
Okay.
Weston and Sampson.
Yep.
And so this is 5% of completion for the construction services.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the invoice for $16,625 to Weston and Sampson for the first phase of construction services?
Offer the motion, Bob Lyons.
Seconded by Marty. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay. Okay, anything else on that, Jen?
Nope.
No. All right. Discussion of matters related to this building project. So timelines, Jack, do they have an idea on start to finish when we'll be obviously starting 22nd of December or close to, with a finish date? Complete completion date is?
Yeah, I just had it up, and of course I've misplaced it, but I believe they were looking to be complete by, it was either April, I think it was mid-April, if
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
recall.
Yeah, my thought was like the first week of May. They wanted to try to have it completely paved and ready to move in by Memorial Day is what.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe
Yep.
it was I believe it's April 17th with May 1 is what was in the bid documents as completion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I do know
It's the week of April 17th.
Yeah, and I believe they that may change. They'll probably have to revise that based on last night's meeting. So we may see a revised schedule come that we can share
Okay,
once we get that.
great. And obviously the parking lot to some capacity is going to be closed down, which impacts right now the walk to Great Island, right? I mean, that's not open during the week at this point, but in a couple of, I think the timeline for Great Island, actually, I don't think they're opening up until May because they're not going to be able to pave that pathway until May anyway. So it shouldn't really impact tremendously, but there is certainly the need to have that communication with the community. So I know that Park and Recs and I know that John Zgratsky is willing to put any sort of communication into the weekly flyer and weekly newsletter that he puts out. Is there any other means that you guys think needs to happen to make sure that we're communicating?
Just a totally ignorant question. can we use any of the fill from the boat ramp for the fill for Great Island roadway?
Don't know.
I'll give an equally somewhat uninformed response. Not familiar with the Great Island project.
That's
but I
right.
think
It was
would.
an uninformed question, just
Yeah.
so we're on the same page. I apologize.
I'd have to imagine it would be based on the quality of the material. I know there was the potential for contaminants in some of the dredged area. I don't know if that extended into the boat ramp excavation as well. But it would have to be suitable material, and I'm not sure that what you would be dredging up would be.
Yeah, I
Got
think
it.
it was the thought that they were going to be testing that material too once it left
Okay.
Pear Tree Point.
Yeah.
So it would be
Obvious question.
a good
and I'm
question
sure it
too.
was
You're starting to
ignorant,
sound like
so-
Monica. She's amazing at recycling projects. So it was
Sorry,
a
Jack.
good thought.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'd entertain the idea of taking the dredge material and using it to elevate the parking lot in general.
Right.
But that's just not, it might be too mucky. It might be really nice sand. We're not sure. And one of the things that had come up recently was that the preliminary testing from yield at the lab actually came back fairly clean, which is, I don't know the right word.
Encouraging.
Encouraging. Great to hear. Good
But-
news.
Yeah, and I get the doesn't work for the parking lot, but feels like it may possibly be applicable to the drive in Great Island. As someone who does not know what I'm talking about, so just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, in general, I've been told it's just not a suitable road base. Otherwise, they
Okay.
yeah, at the parking lot. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen it done too. Would have been made everybody's life a lot easier. But here we are. It's all good.
Sorry. Thanks.
But I will be curious to see what the first round of testing comes back at. And I think they're going to have to take some samples soon. In general, I think it's every, it's a rough estimate. I think it's either 1,000 or 1,500 yards per the state. You have to test, take another sample. So their preliminary samples before getting really, really cooking should be coming out in the next couple weeks, like Jack said. But be anxious to see what they come back at. I don't know what kind of recourse we have to say you don't need to go to Clean Earth. I think it all has to go to Clean Earth. I just don't know if there's any potential savings in terms of how they treat it. I really don't know. That's where my area of expertise starts to fade.
Yeah, I mean, once we have the results, it'll be, we'll see what the results come back as, and if it's, different enough, or if it makes sense to have that conversation, we can certainly, have that at that time.
Yeah, sure. There's two issues. There's environmental, and then there's quality.
Yeah.
If pavement contractors, if you force them to use your material, they call it process. And the higher quality the process, the better the foundation for the roadbed or even the parking lot. So the minute we start telling them they have to use our process or our fill is the minute they say, well, we're not warranting the work.
Right. Exactly.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay, are there any other questions or additions for this?
Marcy, it's Cheryl Russell. May I say something?
Sure.
I notice you don't have public comment on your agenda. So I'm hoping that, maybe the next go round, either at the beginning or the end, you will add that on.
Okay.
Okay. My question is, though, you had said that the barges couldn't come in and for various reasons. I did watch the planning and zoning meeting last night, so I'm caught up on that. However, we're going to be dredging all the way around to the gas dock of the boat club. Are they going to be able to get their equipment? I forgot the name of the place now. Their equipment around all the pilings for the docks for the boat club, and then over into that area, and then track it all the way back around to the ramp to get it up into the parking lot? Is that the way I'm looking at this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two small, we call them truckable tugs. They can go on a truck and show up to the site that way. But they're about 800 horsepower apiece, and they'll be pushing around the barges that you see in the water at the moment. So there's already an excavator on some floats, kind of amongst A dock and B dock at the boat club.
I saw that.
That will be positioned in the spot to dig. It'll put the dredge material into those hoppers, so to say. And there's 2 or 3 of them, and they'll just kind of rotate back around over to the boat ramp and be unloaded into the repositories up on land. So yeah, that's the general plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcy.
Okay, if there are no other questions or concerns, we could go ahead and enjoy. First, I just want to remind everybody, I have January 7th as our next meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Jen informed me that this Zoom will be on a rotating Zoom, so it will be the same link that you'll use for every meeting going forward. But she'll include that every time we send out the agenda. And if there's any questions that come up in the course of the, next month before we meet, or issues, we'll be sure to communicate that with the rest of the committee. And definitely, Jack, we look forward to taking a look at what the cost difference will be, doing it by land. And I'll be sure that we share that with everybody as soon as we get that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions, can I get a motion to adjourn? Adjourn.
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
Marty, all in favor?
Yay.
All right, guys, have a lovely holiday.
Yay.
I'll talk to you guys sooner.
Same.